When SHTF, I'm going to GOOD into my BOV with my BOB and then head over to my BOL. Once I reach my BOL, I'm probably going to grab FIFO MRE and eat it really quick before TEOTWAWKI. Did that make any sense to you? If not, then this video is for you. These are 25 Prepper acronyms that you should know. Let's get started. In the world of emergency preparedness, we use a lot of various acronyms to describe items, topics, and situations. I think a lot of those acronyms originated from military use and they made their way into the world of emergency preparedness. I hadn't really thought about it too much, but I was recently talking with Lady Liberty Preparedness. By the way, you should check out her channel. And she was talking about a lot of the acronyms that she had to ramp up on to understand this whole world of emergency preparedness. And she created a list of some of the acronyms that she had to ramp up on. And so it got me interested in the topic. I did some various searches on YouTube and other people were also talking about some of these acronyms. So I thought maybe I should put a list together. So I created a PDF document. You can download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It has a list of 25 Prepper acronyms that you should know. So let's get started now with this video featuring those 25 Prepper acronyms. Let's start off first with the BO acronyms. And I'm not talking about body odor, I'm talking about bugging out. So bugging out is basically evacuating from your home during an emergency. For example, if your house is on fire, you're going to bug out of the house. That's where that comes from. And there's a few different acronyms that we use in conjunction with bug out. The first one being a bug out bag. A bug out bag is basically a backpack or a bag that has a core set of survival items in there to allow you to survive for up to 72 hours. It's meant as a temporary bag that you would take with you to evacuate your home during a bug out situation, and you could survive for 72 hours, and it's not really meant to last you for much longer than that. Eventually, hopefully, you'll make it back to your home residence. There's also something called a bug out vehicle. So a bug out vehicle might not be your normal family vehicle. It might be something that's a little bit more suited for an evacuation situation. For example, a SUV or a truck or a Jeep that is able to do a lot of off-roading capabilities, and it might have a core set of supplies in there as well that could be useful in an evacuation situation. That's called a bug out vehicle. So you also have something called a BOL, or a bug out location. So a bug out location is a safe place where you plan on going during an emergency situation should there be a disaster that should cause you to evacuate from your home. A BOL could be a cabin in the woods, a piece of property that you own, or even a friend's house. So while a bug out bag is oftentimes a backpack, sometimes people have an ALICE pack, for example. ALICE is not a person. ALICE stands for All-Purpose Lightweight Individual Carrying Equipment. This is an equipment attachment system and accessory set officially adopted by the military in the 1970s. It's since been replaced by the MOLLE system. Let's move on to one of the more extreme acronyms, and that's CBRN. So CBRN stands for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear. So CBRN emergencies are ones that involve CBRN agents, such as toxic and hazardous chemicals or materials, chemical and biological warfare agents, toxic radiological materials, and more. We also have an acronym for CCW. A CCW is basically your concealed carry weapon. So when people talk about their CCW, that's basically when they're carrying a firearm in a hidden manner when out in public for personal protection. Here's another scary one. It's CME, which stands for Coronal Mass Ejection. CMEs are a significant release of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's solar corona, which often follows solar flares. They could disrupt radio transmissions and cause damage to satellites and electrical transmission line facilities, which will result in long-lasting power outages. Here's a really popular one, EDC. So EDC stands for Everyday Carry. It represents the items that you carry in your pockets from a day-to-day basis. So most people have an EDC that consists of a wallet, a phone, and keys. Preppers like adding on to those items and having things like a pocket knife or a flashlight, a multi-tool, a lighter, and more. So that's EDC. Let's keep going alphabetically. So the next one is EMP, which stands for Electromagnetic Pulse. We've done some fun talks on EMPs in the past on this channel. An EMP is a powerful blast of electromagnetic energy that ranges across a large portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's most commonly sourced by a nuclear weapon that's detonated above the Earth's atmosphere. Basically, an EMP has the potential of destroying all electronics in the impacted region. The next acronym is FAK, which stands for First Aid Kit. So a first aid kit is a collection of supplies that are used for providing medical assistance to someone that's injured. There's a wide variation of items that one includes in a first aid kit, and it kind of depends on the training that that person has. For example, a normal person is not going to have a fancy first aid kit as a doctor or nurse might have, where they could do a lot more advanced medical assistance because they've had the proper training. The next acronym is FIFO, which stands for first in, first out. This one's used a lot when it comes to food storage, for example. You don't want to just buy a bunch of food and keep grabbing the newest one. The first one that you put into storage is going to be the first one that you're actually going to use. And that'll help make sure that you have a rotation of your food supply. And when we talk about that, we talk about FIFO, or first in, first out. The next item is a GHB, which stands for Get Home Bag. So a Get Home Bag is kind of like a bug out bag, but a bug out bag is designed to bug out from your home. A Get Home Bag is designed to get you back to home during an emergency situation. So oftentimes you'll have a Get Home Bag at school or your university. Maybe you'll have one in your vehicle, or maybe you'll have one at your office that you work at on a day-to-day basis. Again, it's a backpacker bag that provides you with enough supplies to allow you to get back home. So instead of bugging out, you're going to get home with a GHB. Another common acronym is GOOD, which stands for Get Out of Dodge. It's basically used in the same way as bug out, so evacuating from a situation very quickly. For example, if your house is on fire, you need to get out of Dodge. You need to get out of there and evacuate. So again, GOOD is Get Out of Dodge. So there's a similar one to the FAK, which we talked about, and that's an IFAK, or an individual first aid kit. So some first aid kits are designed to provide medical assistance to many people. An individual first aid kit is a very personalized first aid kit just for you. It's just a small first aid kit that you would carry in your backpack, for example, if you're going out for a hike by yourself. The next acronym is INCH, and that stands for I'm Never Coming Home. It's usually talked about in terms of an INCH bag. So while a bug out bag is kind of a temporary bag that you're planning on getting back home, an INCH bag is a bag that probably has a lot more capabilities because you're never planning on coming home once you're putting that on. You're evacuating and you're going Mad Max style. That's usually called an INCH bag. Another common acronym is JIC, otherwise known as just in case. Most of what we do here in emergency preparedness is just in case. So that's a common acronym that's used. So just in case, I'm going to carry an extra knife in my bug out bag. Or just in case, I'm going to buy an extra can of tuna. The next acronym is MOLLE, and MOLLE's not a person. MOLLE stands for Modular, Lightweight, Load Carrying Equipment. So when people talk about MOLLE, they're usually talking about MOLLE webbing. It's basically a convenient system that was invented by the military. It consists of various rows or straps that are stitched into intervals to allow for many gear configurations. In a lot of tactical backpacks, you'll see some fabric that go vertically and horizontally in a web, and that's basically MOLLE webbing that's used as an attachment system for other smaller bags, for example. The next acronym is MRE, which stands for Meals Ready to Eat. So MREs are self-contained individual field rations in lightweight packaging that are designed for soldiers to use while in combat or other field conditions where organizing food facilities are not available. The next acronym is NBC, and I'm not talking about the TV station. NBC stands for Nuclear, Biological, Chemical. So NBC represents weapons that disperse biological, chemical, or radioactive agents to inflict injury or cause contamination or damage. This term gained popularity during the Cold War, but it's since been replaced by the acronym CBRN. The next acronym is OPSEC, which stands for Operational Security. So OPSEC is a process by which organizations assess and protect public data about themselves that could, if properly analyzed and grouped with other data by a clever adversary, reveal a bigger picture that ought to stay hidden. So most of us preppers like being a little bit private with our whole preparedness, and so we often talk about OPSEC with regard to that. The next acronym is ROL, which stands for Rule of Law. So rule of law is basically the existence of public order based on justice services, security, and laws that are enforceable by the state. So in a normal working society, we're operating within the rule of law. The next acronym is a popular one. It's SHTF, which stands for Hits the Fan. SHTF is used for describing catastrophic events, disasters, and scenarios where everything has spiraled out of control. To keep it a little bit more G-rated, sometimes people say stuff hits the fan. The next acronym is probably the longest one for preppers, and that's TEOTWAKI, which stands for The End of the World as We Know It. So TEOTWAKI is very similar to SHTF. It's used to describe a catastrophic event or emergency. Typically, this term is used more for emergencies that go beyond a regional event where life after the event is nothing like the world we know. This could be a total economic or political collapse, an EMP event, or a global pandemic. So we talked about ROL. The next acronym is WROL, and that stands for Without Rule of Law. This acronym was popularized by YouTuber Nut and Fancy. It's basically a term that is used to describe a situation in which the police and every institutional body that functions to uphold the law have lost control. And the last of the 25 Prepper acronyms that you should know is YOYO, which stands for You're on Your Own. It's basically used to describe a situation when no one will be able to assist you during an emergency situation. As the name suggests, you're on your own. That's going to do it for this video featuring the 25 Prepper acronyms that you should know. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching it. This video is designed for people that are just new into the world of emergency preparedness, and you might be getting a little bit lost in some of the terms that we talk about here with regard to prepping. So again, I provided a PDF document. You could download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It has a list of all the Prepper acronyms that we discussed in this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video featuring the 25 Prepper acronyms that you should know, and hopefully you have them all memorized before TEOTWAWKI. See you guys next time.